Hello everyone. For those of you who've been watching the tutorials and learning about the game either along with them, completely on your own, or with your community group of friends, it will also be providing for you these very informal and unedited videos on gameplay, strategies, community requests, and pretty much anything else that comes along. So don't hesitate through the community forums, the Steam forums, whatever you'd like. If you have any questions or you want to see something specific, please don't hesitate. We're all here to have fun and enjoy and play a really great strategy game. Alright everyone, so let's begin. What we're going to do today is we're going to talk a little bit about starting new games, setting ourselves up, talking a little bit about strategy and placement of the industry, and again some of the options. So let's begin with new game. And this information here, if you've gone through the tutorials, this is in there as well. We talked about giving the name of your world, the world size, 16 or 32. The world seed is your map, so these are procedural maps. If you like what you see, keep note of the number, and of course you can always go back to it with different strategies. Field minimums and maximums, this talks about the terrain heights and depths. We have our lava depth, we have our resources, the quantity of resources. Basically, if you leave everything by default, you have a good running start. The hardcore mode, if you want to rain lava on you while you're trying to figure yourself out, that's definitely an advanced mode. I wouldn't suggest that right away, but if you'd like to try, go right ahead. Show prologue is the introduction. And let's see, we'll configure the background. So let's give ourselves a nice background view while we play the game. If you know your computer's powerful enough, you can bump up your background to very high, or nice and low if you want to speed things up if your computer's not fast enough. So my computer's pretty good, so let's put it high and let's randomize the colors. Wow, that's a little too bright. Let's tone that down a little bit perhaps. Well, that's interesting. So you see what happens when you start playing around with these dials. You really get some interesting results. As you save your game, this will actually maintain. That's a really interesting color, so we're going to keep that. Let's go back and let's generate. So while this is generating, just to give you a little bit of an idea, again, about explaining the ideas behind this game. So the enemy that you will be facing, they are not the same between one game and the next. They are not the same in terms of how they'll come to attack you. It is all based on your gameplay. It is all based on the AI's understanding of how they're going to get you, basically. So it's really up in the air. So that's the really nice thing about this game. It's really up in the air. It's not always the same thing every single game you play. Even if you choose the same map, it's not the same. So it's a really nice way of, trying different strategies and seeing what's going to come out from it, and basically seeing how long you can last as the game gets progressively harder. So let's click ready. So here's our main intro page. How many supervisors are watching you? All right, your RECOG is requiring landing site, so your rocket is finding its place to land, and here it comes down. All right, once they land, then I'm going to make sure that we pause the game right away. We must pause the game. You'll notice that there is a play and a pause button. Pause is spacebar as a shortcut. Very important to do because you do not want to speed up your time and have enemies come without being prepared. All right, so what we're going to do now is I'm just going to go through this environment. Now, what exactly are we doing here? My left hand is on the keyboard. And let's just go through quickly the navigation tools again in case you haven't gone through the tutorials, which I highly suggest you do because they'll definitely give you a good understanding. So WADS, right? The WASD keys, the typical keys when you are roaming around on a map. So W is forward, S is back, A is left, and D is right. Q is to rotate right, E, rotate left. All right, so that kind of brings you around. So between those keys, you can start understanding how to navigate around here. And we have R and F also. R is to rise up, to go higher, and you can see how high this map is. F is to go down into the ground, and you'll notice as you go down, it starts cutting out, and you can go further in. The Z and the X key, Z is to zoom close, X is to zoom farther away. Alright, so with all that, now you have the keyboard shortcuts ready to go. And what we're going to do now is we're going to look around this map, and we're going to figure out where is the best place to put our industry. So I'm going to use those keys, and I'm going to look around. So the best strategy for this game, in terms of where you're going to place an industry, is as low as you can go. So you want to be low, and you don't want to have any exposed holes that lead right to your industry, because once the enemy comes, if they plow through you, they're headed right for it. So you want to give them a little run for their money, and you want to also have protection. So if you're able to place your industry in areas where there's holes, kind of deep underground, here's a nice hole, we'll see, then you can start blocking it off, and that's what you want to try and do. You want to try and block off your industry from the outside, and I'll show you different ways of doing that. So here I have an area. Let's see if we go further down. There's a nice hole here, and you can see we run into lava. So when we have lava, we have to be very careful about that, because that will kill pretty much everything except for the select few pieces. But it is a very good resource to use in the advanced game. So we're going to see if we can use that later on. Right now I'm just trying to find an area that is out of the way, and you can see there's a hole here, right? That's where we started from, all the way up, and it's blocked off over there, and here it's blocked off. There's kind of a hole to get in, so maybe not over there exactly. Let's see what else we got. Just navigating around, and if we don't find any, we'll just create our own. So there's a hole right there. You know, the idea is that you don't want to just dig out the whole terrain, right? You don't want to just level off everything and keep it empty, because the natural terrain is the best defense. So I can see there's a hole here, and it kind of gets bigger and bigger, and it mixes up, and eventually it closes off. So you know what? I'm going to choose that area over here, and we're going to go for that one. So what we're going to do is we're going to dig down, and we're going to start hollowing out an area over here. So we'll make a nice area over here. So we'll get that started. And there are the units. So what I'm going to have the units do is we're going to make a little hole. Actually, there's one over here. We're going to make a little hole, and we're going to make our way like a tunnel, getting ourselves down underneath. So you can see there's actually a hole right up there. There's a hole right up there. So we don't have to go too far. And after a while, like I said, we can block it off. So let's do that. Let's start digging in there. What we're going to do is we're going to go into the excavate mode, which is over here. And we have discover, excavate, and collect. Discover is to reveal all the gray squares. At this point, I know there's no lava in this area because I saw how low it was going. At least I'm assuming there's no lava here. And we're going to go into excavate right away. So I click the excavate button, and we're going to start making our way from through here. We're going to make a little S to the other end over there, you know, little interference in the natural terrain, and then from there we're going to drop down. And I can see there's some nice areas. So let's do that. I'm always on pause. When I click once, it highlights the square, and basically I can either highlight one by one, as you see me doing here, and I'll branch into the empty space, and then I'll click the space bar, press the space bar, or click play, and watch it happen. So there he goes. You might notice the rest turns red because they don't have access to that yet, but they will soon. So I'm basically going to help them along. Just helping them along. If it goes red, I'll just keep on going. I know we're going to have this little bit of a constant click, but that's okay. You might notice as you're also doing this that they're bumping into the little collectibles. That's because these collectibles are slightly damaging the utility drones. they do that. The utility drones are being damaged by them because, well, as a part of the way the game works, they are affected by pretty much everything around them. So right now they're just being kind of knocked off with one or two little collectibles, but in the future you'll see what is possible is that you can actually collapse larger areas of floor and have those collectibles drop on the enemy directly, and you can pretty much get a good hit on them. On your own side, be very careful with these utility drones, because if they get damaged too much by these little collectibles, you can actually lose one. So we don't want to lose any collectibles, utility drones from being knocked off by collectibles, but you're going to see how we're going to manage that to make sure that doesn't happen. So now we've actually branched there's our hole. At some point we will block this off for the enemy. Right now I don't have the tools to do that. I'm just going to go down further as I see the hole, and there it starts closing up. So this is the area that I'm going to start developing the industry. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to highlight more than just one area. I'm actually going to go about from over here. I'm going to click and hold the shift button, and as I click and hold the shift button and drag the mouse, I can see that it highlights a larger area. It says 7x7 at level 78. By letting go, the utility drones will start digging out this. So I'm going to press play and watch that happen. Alright, you can see all their shields going, and of course the same thing, it's because they're being knocked out by the collectibles. It's very important to keep an eye on their health bar. If you notice the health bar turns yellow, that utility drone definitely should take a break from digging to recover its energy. And if you find that you want to fast forward your timing a little bit, you'll notice next to the play, you have the quadruple time. So we're going to click quadruple time, and you'll see that just speeds everything up. We'll press pause. What I'm going to do, because you actually don't hear it on my end, but I'm hearing all the sound effects and everything, I'm going to turn them off. I'm going to go into the options menu, and then I'm going to go into options, and I have music volume, which is already off. I'm going to turn the sound effects volume off so that while I'm talking to you, I actually don't hear the sound effects at the same time. I'm going to go back. And here you go. So what happens now, I've just dug out all this, and I got there's a few little collectibles floating around. I should store those. Those need to be stored because eventually we're going to actually need them. So what I'm going to do is I can see there's another little hole there. If I go further down, I can see still more. So these are the areas that I'm going to start digging out. So like I said, the collectibles are going to be collected. Maybe I'll dig a few more levels before I do that. This will get pretty heavy, but again, we'll keep an eye on our utility drones. So excavate, hold, shift, drag, and I'm looking for, there's your 7x7, and we let go. And if I rotate, I can see it pretty much cover the whole thing. Press play, and it is on fast forward play. You can see utility drones, they're turning yellow because they are being knocked out by the collectibles. So I'm going to take a few second break here and let them recover. Of course, this does contribute to time. Alright, I'm going to pause it now. I'm going to go lower down, so there's the hole again. So I think what I'm going to do at this point, I'm going to create a low industry, low and flat. The industry you can create is any way you choose, either up against the wall, in the air, just attached by one on a particular element. There's all kinds of ways you can do this. Like I said, I'm going to do probably about 3 levels just to start, to keep it low, and after I'll build more as I need it. So we have 1 level, we have 2 levels, so there's a 3rd level here that I'm going to clear out. So let's do that. 7x7, let go, here it is. Now I will be careful here because I must pay attention to the other collectibles to make sure that I don't lose a utility drone because of it. And I can see one is probably starting to go a little bit. You want to keep track of these. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the in the management mode, which is over here, and this shows me all my military and utility drones. If I click on the utility drone, I can see I have 5 here, and 216 out of 350. I'm going to keep an eye on it. Oh, there's one that's going yellow. I'm pausing right away. What I'm going to do is I will actually click on this utility drone, and to stop him from digging anymore, I'm going to go into where it says Edit Task Mask. I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to remove, these are all the tasks available to the utility drones. I'm going to remove excavating, so he will stop excavating. And instead, I will use the move command, which is over here, and I'll move him up out of the way. So let's move him up out of the way. And so it gives him time to recover while the others are doing the task. And that's it. So I'm going to put back that task mask, edit, and let's put it back individually. So now he's ready to dig again. So I have 3. That's good enough to start. Later on, if I'd like, I can always go higher and dig higher, but for now I'm going to keep it like that. Or again, I can dig even lower as I see fit. All right, so we're going to pause the game, and I can see we're on level cycle 1. We're on cycle 1, about to go into cycle 2. I'm also going to verify in my options the saving. In my options, we have gameplay, and way at the bottom, there's a lot to work through here, but I'm not going to explain all that right away. What I want to focus on is auto pause and auto save. Auto pause on threat, that's when the enemy comes. Auto save right now is set to none. I want to do it based on cycles. So every cycle, it'll automatically save. And that's an important thing because you must save a lot. Let's back again, and here we are ready to go. And since we have gone a little bit farther, nothing is happening yet. We can save it. Outside the auto saves, we can do a standard save. That's in the options menu. And we have save as. And I have quite a few other saves here, so let's call this one this world. You cannot put spaces here. And I'll put this world 1. Save. Let's go back. There it is. And let's go back. It even registers your seed. So if you want to use this one in the future, now you know you can. All right. Next step is what I'm going to do now is I'm going to collect all these. And in order to collect them, I'm going to be using a storage containment unit that we will find in build mode. So build mode is the third icon from the left. And we have our industrials, sorry. And in the industrials we have, this is all the constructs that we use to put on the map. And right now I'm going to use the storage containment unit. So we're going to click on that one. And we're going to place it on the map. Now there's a hole there. I'm going to keep that hole empty in case I want to dig lower down. But for now I'm going to just pop this thing over there in the corner. And why I'm putting it in the corner is because I want to use I want to build my industry from the corner outwards. Again, you can build it from wherever you want. Your first storage technically is the start of this whole industry. One group of constructs that these are called. In the end, you'll see you can actually do different groups in different locations. This is where I'm starting the main factory, the main industries, and from here it'll spread outwards. So that's where I'm putting the first one. And right now, that's actually where I'm going to be collecting everything. So the collection happens with excavate mode again. What I'm going to do first, though, is obviously I'm going to wait for him to build it. Let's unpause. I'll do it slow so you can see what's going on here. You notice that a utility drone just disappeared. And if we can find him. Let's see if we can find him. Oh, there he is. So you can see what's happening. He's making his way back over there through the hole to get to where he wants to go. Now, just for the fun of it, we're going to go into management mode and we're going to follow him around. So here it is. It says he's moving and he's carrying a storage containment unit. So I'm going to click on his card and I'm going to say follow. So, and there we go. We're following him around. So he's going down and he's digging it. He's building it. Pause again. It's built. And we're good. So the next step now is I'm going to clear all this out. And once it's cleared out, I'm going to be ready to start building the industry. So let's get on with that. Collect in the excavate mode. Collect. And you're going to see here, once they start collecting, they will be damaged by the collectibles. So I suggest, if you decide to do the whole thing in one shot, like I showed you before, be aware. Because they're going to get hit by this. And I don't want to follow anymore, so I'm just moving the level up and down. And here they go. So I'm keeping a very close eye on the HP, and I can see they're going down. So I'm going to stop, and I'm going to go into the management mode, and we'll see who's damaged the most. Let's take him, edit task mask, and we'll say stop collecting. So there's a few more. You can see this is going to get overwhelming. I might actually lose some. So as opposed to this strategy of just collecting everything, what I'm going to do instead, I will actually cancel the selection and then go a little bit slower. So before I do that, I'll just make sure that I can remove the collecting from these. Collecting. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into cancel. I'm going to highlight all the blocks that I originally highlighted, and I'm going to do it at a much slower pace, simply because, well, I don't want to lose any. Alright, so we'll leave those. Unpause. And so here's a few that are picking it up. So you can see it does manage a little bit easier. So you notice what I did before. I dug 3 levels, and then I started to excavate, to collect. You could dig 1 level, then collect, another level, collect, and so on. Try and dig downwards. If you dig upwards, then if you excavate upwards, then you'll have rocks, collectibles falling on you, and that's not exactly a good thing either. So we're going to go back into our management mode, and we're going to go into utility drone utilities and mask reset all. That'll put back all the checks, and they will start collecting again. But this time, I'll be a little bit more careful. Alright, so there are the 5, and you can see I'm letting the time run a little bit just so they can gain some HP. And so let's collect a few at a time. I'm still on the fast forward mode, so you can see here it's a little bit easier, it's a bit more manageable, and I'm not losing anybody anytime soon. I'm still keeping track. That might have been a bit too much, but we'll see. Cycle 3. Keep it on those cycles. Once it hits cycle 10, the enemy will come, but we are prepared at the beginning. We have 2 very efficient, very effective defender drones that will protect us at the beginning. But you'll see as we progress more, as we collect more and build more, those 2 defender drones will definitely not be enough. Alright, so we're almost done cleaning this up, and as soon as we're done, then we'll be ready for our industry. Perfect. Pause the game. It's saved. You can save it again if you'd like. Save as. The autosaves are here. There's my original. I will override it. Yes. And there we go. Okay, so that'll end our video for now. As you can see, what we went through was just navigating around the terrain, choosing a good location for our industry, digging, excavating, collecting, and placing in storage. Next lesson, next video I'm going to go through will be about beginning the creation of your industry. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.